Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. Hope all you guys have had an unbelievable week. You're closing down for you guys who are fathers, getting ready for Father's Day, for you children and wives who will be celebrating the men in your life who are fathers, who are who have taken up the role as fathers. We first of all celebrate you. I congratulate you. Happy pre-Father's Day because I am going to spend time with my family tomorrow. So I definitely probably will not be anywhere near any streaming or broadcast unless something just really pops in my head and I want to do something congratulatory or celebratory. So I'm just going to say it now. Happy Father's Day to all the men who are out there putting in their best efforts at being something that is not easy, but we do it. And I commend you for it. There are a couple of things I'm going to touch on today. Two are uh, in the title field, so it's obvious. The first one I want to touch on is for about 2 weeks now, maybe a little less than 2 weeks, I've been talking to you about a young mother of four who is in dire straits and literally is, you know, life and the life of her children have been in jeopardy, and we've been trying to help them. I've been sharing it with you and I've been asking for your support. Some of you have definitely responded. I love you for it. I appreciate you for it. And I'm pretty sure she's definitely going to appreciate you. I did do a short interview with her so that you can get an idea of who she is and put a face on it. I'm kind of protective of her because she's still in jeopardy. And we are getting that worked out. And like I said, it's a lot of moving parts, but the thing is, we're in a position to get her moved now. It's just now getting the timing right and getting it done. As soon as we get her to a safe place, I'll let you know. We're going to be ongoing dealing with this. This isn't just moving somebody. This is getting them in a safe place, getting them set up, getting them schooling, getting their kids in schooling, getting everybody the counseling and therapy they need for all the trauma that has taken place. And all of that we're going to facilitate and make happen. The reason I'm talking about it is I've been asking for help, and a short video I did, I believe yesterday or the day before, someone came on and said they felt exploited. Now the person has never given. I've never even seen the person's name before. They hadn't given, but just the idea of being asked to give, and they assumed. I shot the video in my truck, so I guess they looked at the truck and assumed a certain thing about me, or maybe they notice that I do run my own companies, whatever, and they have an idea who I am. So they said, basically, because I am quote unquote well to do, I should be asking my well to do friends and not asking everyday people. Well, first and foremost, when you've worked as long as I have in the Black community for more than 20 years officially, and then way longer than that, if you count the things I did where it wasn't on any books, it was just me doing it, 30 years. And I have financed 98% of all the work I've done in the community. I think I've earned the right to ask people to kind of share that burden with me. And I asked the people, I don't have a clue, Darlene, I don't have a clue of why, but I'm addressing it not so much for that person, because that person has been removed from my channel. Because I tried to explain to them whatever, and they come and their communication skills were horrible, and some ranting about some articulators and some other stuff, whatever that means. But basically saying that nobody should be waiting on anybody to come save them, and if it's something you want to do, that's a personal decision. Don't ask us to do it. Ask your wealthy friends to do it. And the thing is, anybody that knows that there are times I've put me and my family in jeopardy pursuing this passion. Because to be totally honest, while you guys have shown me some love, to be totally honest, the Black community as a whole does not give at a level that could support the work that needs to be done in the Black community, not just by Rick Wallace, but by so many other people that are out there. It simply isn't there. We don't know how to get on code on that level where the work can be done systematically, fluidly, and consistently. That doesn't happen. I can tell you it doesn't happen because despite the help that I've gotten recently and over the years, since I started this almost 20 years ago, we still trying to get to 10,000 plus in donations. I think just in the research alone I've done, I've spent more than that. Just in so many other ways, there's been way more spent than that. So if you actually think you can run an organization for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years on $10,000, and if you actually think that where I live, what I drive is because of what I do here, really, I've written 24 books. I've got, I don't know how many courses. I have, I don't know how many clients. I'm recovering from a major hit I took 2 years ago because of the collapse of one of my YouTube channels and a couple of other things. But I do that within the work I do. The Blacks community can't support my lifestyle. I haven't never asked them to, but I have said, hey, I need your help in covering this, or I need you guys to do this one for me. Have I ever even reached a fundraising goal in all the time that I've been here? Absolutely not, not even close. But yes, I feel I've got a right to ask for help. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it, no big deal. And again, this isn't about that person because that person is gone. But before anybody else comes up and starts talking about being exploited, you don't have to give anything. You don't have to give anything to anything you don't believe in, or to anyone you don't believe in. And I encourage you not to. I encourage you to give from your heart. I encourage you to give from a place of internal yearnings or compulsions, not because I ask you to, but because you see a reason to. I just needed to address that because that woman needs help in the idea that no one should be wait. Oprah said you shouldn't wait on nobody to save you. Well, I mean, that's cool coming from a person who actually had the door open to her wealth building opportunity by several specific powerful Jewish men, European Jewish men. I don't want to really hear that. All this by the bootstraps bull crap you can miss me with. But I just had to say that. Now I'm going to move on to something else. There are two things I want to touch on. The primary thing is mental health in the Black community, but there is something I need to touch on. I have addressed this whole Kevin Samuels thing a couple of times, and it really bothers me what I see, not because of Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels is who he is. Kevin Samuels has found a way to capitalize on Black pain, capitalize on Black conflict. He knows that there is a gap and a distinct separation between the Black man and the Black woman. He knows there are obviously enough Black men that will tune in to watch him tear down a Black woman under the guise of I'm telling you the truth. And I've said this because I believe if anybody has a background and a foundation on which to stand to speak on it, I do, because this is what I do for a living professionally. And I do it within a closed, protected environment. And I, for a living, tell people that you're not measuring up, that you have a lot of work to do, that you're nowhere near where you need to be to get the things in life you want. I tell them that for a living, and I have yet to disrespect one person, tear them down, make them feel bad about themselves, embarrass them in a public environment, or any of that. I get the work done. I get the point across. I tell them the truth. There's a way to do it. There is a way to do it when the true motive behind it is healing, empowerment, and improvement. There's a way you do it. When it's for quote unquote entertainment, sensationalism, to feed a frenzy, then you do it that way. The problem is the damage that's being done long term, not just on an individual level, on a collective level. Don't get me wrong. I have a major problem with women that feel they even have a need to contact a man and tell them about themselves, that's still struggling with who he is. We need to be honest about that. We need to be completely honest about that. I don't have people tell me, you're just hating on him. Not hating on him. I've had an unbelievable life. I've been in a lot better situation than I am now financially, but my family is not starving. And I cover and take care of my family. I have a respect for my role as a man beyond myself. I understand that I have a responsibility to set an example and not just live within the confines of what's going to work for me. There are a lot of things I do or don't do that I would like to do or don't do that would be great for me, but it wouldn't be good for the collective. As a man in my house, there are some things I would love to do that would be great for me, but not good for my family. I had to make a decision. Is it about me or is it about something bigger? And if it's about something bigger, there's some things I just don't get to do. Forgive that flare, but there are some things that I just don't get to do. I have a certain standard that I have to meet. There's a certain way that I carry myself. There's a certain way I handle women. And I don't handle any black woman based on her. Let me say that again. I don't handle any black woman based on who she is, where she's at, what she's doing, what she's wearing, how she looks. I base it on me. As a man, I have a respect for myself that promises that I will uplift, encourage, empower, and when possible, teach and cover black women. All with respect to the ultimate black woman in my life, my wife. I never step outside of the boundaries. There's nobody going to be able to come tell you that while I've been married to my wife, that I have come to them in any way, in any form, disrespectfully. I respect my wife, but I am going to treat black women with a certain level of respect, not because of something they've done, but because of who I am. Do I have any issues with the black woman? Oh, yeah. I see a lot of stuff I don't like. I see a lot of stuff that I don't personally approve of, and that as someone who has studied our complete social and psychological dynamic, that I don't think is good for us. We handle that in-house. We handle that respectfully. When I call you on your stuff, I'm going to call you on your stuff so you know when I say it, it's coming from a place of love. I'm not giving anybody a pass. I hold both black men and black women equally accountable. But as a black man, there's something in me that just doesn't feel right when I watch men celebrate the degradation of a black woman. It talks about issues that we don't want to deal with within ourselves. Because, see, there's something wrong with your relationship with women when you can look at another man tear a black woman down under any guise. Well, he is telling the truth. Well, I do it every day, and I never do it that way, and I've got a 99% success rate. Here's the thing that you have to take into consideration. Even when a woman that calls into this show gets told she's not a 7, she's actually a 4, that she's got a bunch of miles on her, you know what, and a bunch of other things that makes her not worthy of this quote unquote high value black man. When she's told that, and so all of a sudden, even if this person says, you know what, I'm going to take that to heart. I'm going to get off. I'm going to go work on myself. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get in the gym. I'm going to do all this stuff. Guess what? She's doing all the right things for the wrong reason. Still the wrong motive, still the wrong intent is going to produce undesirable results. Your motive has to be pure. Your set of intent has to be pure. You need to know why you're doing it. And the reason why you're doing it has to be a healthy reason. Not because some clown on a show told you that you was a 4 and the only way you can be a 5 is to lose 15 pounds and get your abs right and get this right and do this. And then you need to go out and now you're in school, but you're in the school for the wrong reason. Everybody should be driven to improve, but that should be something on the inside of you that drives you to improve. Should be something on the inside of you that says, I could be better tomorrow. I wake up every day with all the things that I've accomplished over the course of my life. I wake up every day looking to be better, looking to advance myself, looking to grow. I'm never satisfied with where I'm at, but it's not to prove anything to anybody else. It's because I want to be my best. I want to leave a legacy that speaks of me, that shows what's possible when you set your mind to excel. I want to be an example. So I wake up every day to be better. Nobody else is telling me I need to be better. My thing that totally blows my mind about this isn't Kevin Samuels. He's who he is. And all you got to do is really observe him and watch him. And you can tell there are some things that he hasn't dealt with. He hides it very well. And a lot of times he uses other people to do it. He sets the ground rules through which people see him. And he doesn't have to really deal with and face reality. He's who he is. There are plenty of narcissists in the world. My issue is with how many black men are backing that. How many black men are finding some reason to justify it. The biggest reason is, man, his delivery is off, but man, he telling the truth. Well, the delivery kills the whole thing. Anybody who's ever been taught by someone with wisdom will tell you that. Anybody who with wisdom will tell you, you can kill a powerful message with the wrong delivery. You can shut down your ability to actually help someone with your approach. That's just natural fact. And then those that are saying, man, it's just really banter. It's just really a show. Find something else to build your show on outside of tearing down the Black woman, because that's a public platform in which we are embarrassing Black women. Yes, I know they're calling in. I don't understand it, but that speaks to the reality we're dealing with, is that we're calling in and asking someone to define us, to give us help. And then we're not even calling someone who is in the best position to give us advice. We're calling someone who has really truly struggled with their own identity, and it's obvious, and simply found a niche in which they can make themselves, enrich themselves, and put themselves in a better position to hide their own flaws. And we all have them. I'm not sitting up here saying I'm perfect. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I'm not going to use you to hide my imperfections. I'm not going to degrade you to feel good about myself. I'm not going to disrespect you to increase the numbers in my bank account. I'd rather take the slower road of building you up. It's not as sensational. It's not going to get as many views. It's not going to get as many likes. But see, I can live with myself because I infected someone with hope. I infected someone with the idea of unlimited possibility. I infected someone with aspirations and inspiration. I infected. I didn't say affected. I said infected. See, I like to infect people. That's how I touch the world. See, when you infect somebody, you're infectious. And so when you infect them, you're contagious. And whatever you infect them with is contagious. So they don't just benefit from it. Anybody else they come in contact with becomes infected. See, I would rather do that. It's not as much glory attached to it, but it's going to have a long-term impact on my people. There's a method to my madness. Peace. Kick rocks. Matter of fact, I'll fix it where you can't ever come back. Bye. See how anytime you start to uplift a Black woman, some punk comes through and wants to call you a sip. I built an entire family. I built an entire business. And I've never had to disrespect. I never had to disrespect a woman to do it. See, I was reared by men who taught us, no matter what, you respect the women. Even when they act in certain way, you respect the women, because every nation, the state and status of a nation will be determined about how men treat the women. This is historically. But we got now a bunch of moist cats in their feelings that the moment you start talking about protecting a woman, you can't have building without healing. This is what I do. You can talk building all alone. You can accumulate stuff. That's not building. Accumulating something is not building. And you can't build on a faulty foundation. It will crumble. You have to heal before you build. And you can't take someone who needs healing and rub raw on them and expect them to heal. That's not going to facilitate healing, and you can't build. And if you're looking for people that you can build with and you're dismissing those you feel you can't build with, you're not a part of the collective. You're self-serving. That's period. That's socialism 101. Let's talk the science of it. Let's not talk about what somebody's saying. Let's talk about how things actually work. One of the reasons why we can't get where we need to get is because we haven't healed from the trauma that already exists. We don't have a sense of identity. We might as well just roll this into the next segment, which is mental health. I said what I said about dude. I'm done. We have problems with mental health because number one is we don't acknowledge that we have issues with it. We don't acknowledge that we haven't truly committed to putting in the work to healing. There's a gap in the Black community where children are not getting what they need. We've got something in mental health that we call adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs. And it's different things you experienced as a child that has a traumatic impact. And each ACE has a point. Having your parents separate or divorce. You got your parents separating, a parent addicted to a substance or alcohol, a parent or a sibling becoming incarcerated, being physically, mentally, or emotionally abused, dealing with certain dramas in school, and they go on. There are these, they're called adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs. And you get to 3 and 4 ACEs and you start to talk about a lot of things that happen. This is a subsector of epigenetics. And those of who you follow me know that I've spent an immense amount of time talking about epigenetics. But okay, so a child with 3 to 4 ACEs is 12 times more likely to attempt suicide than a child with no ACEs. A child with 4 ACEs is 4 to 5 times more likely to develop diabetes, 3 to 4 times more likely to develop ischemic heart disease. On down the line, 4 to 5 times more likely to experience chronic depression, or what we also call persistent depression. And that is all coming from what's experienced as a child. Well, here's the thing. When children are born into an environment where the parents are traumatized and have not dealt with the trauma, bruh, you don't know what you're talking about, me not being able to address both sides. I've been doing this for 15 years, long before Chump jumped on the screen, and I was addressing both sides. I call both sides out. I address both sides. I know the whole things. I've written 20-something books on it. Before you jump on my channel and try to tell me what I don't know and what I haven't done off of watching one video or maybe two, you probably should do your research on who you're talking to. I've been doing this for a long time. I help people heal. Healing comes from dealing from both sides. You're absolutely right. And I deal with both sides. What I can tell you is you're not dealing with both sides. One side is dumping on the other side. And I get on women for doing the same thing to men. Come at me without knowing what you're talking about. These dudes, and you've been watching me for 4 years, you haven't seen me address women. You haven't seen me call women out. Have you read any of my books where there are whole chapters dealing with women? I wish our men would double down and defend our women the way they defend this clown. There is a way to talk to a woman, period. There's no way of jumping around that. My thing isn't that he's telling women what they need to hear. It's how he's telling it. And that does matter. You can't dance around that. There's a way to talk to a child. There's a way to talk to a woman. There's a way to talk to elder. There's a way to talk to a man. There's a way you can't come at me as a man. It doesn't matter how true what you're telling me is. There is a way you're going to have to come at me for it to matter, for me to be able to receive it. If I can't receive it well, I can't process it. Psychology 101. Truth means absolutely nothing if it's delivered with the wrong thing in mind, or the wrong intent, or the wrong way. You could even have the right intent and still deliver it the wrong way, and it will have no meaning whatsoever. That's simply a way a man should want to carry himself when dealing with a woman. And yes, it sucks sometimes because they don't always handle us the way we need to be handled. In that case, don't deal with them. Anyway, as I'm saying, you got this situation, and we're just talking about mental health with childhoods, but with adverse childhood experiences. Then you got this situation where, again, depression is a major issue. We find out that, number one, women are struggle with depression more than men. Black women struggle with it slightly higher average than white women or Asian women or Latino women. The problem is they don't get, while they will admit it and it is documented and reported, they rarely seek help. What's emphatic about men is we deal with it and we hardly ever even report it. Mental health in the Black community with men is a major issue. Why? Because that's this idea that floats around the Black community. Let me help you out there, player. Look, Black men are in an environment where we sit up and we are taught and told we don't need help. Strong Black men, we do it on our own. We stay hidden in our little corners, fighting to get something done. Fighting to get something done and struggling, and we're dealing with depression. What's scary to me is this one particular number, and I know I'm all over the place right now, but this one particular number is we have never led in any statistical category when it comes to suicide attempts or successful suicides. We now are in the number one slot with children ages 5 to 11. I am a person that believes in the law of cause and effect. I believe that where there is an effect or a symptom or a reality, there is a cause. I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe in things just happening. There's a reason that more of our babies are starting to try to kill themselves as early as 5 years old. And that to a point to where they now lead, at least the last time I checked the statistics several months back, young Black youth are taking their lives. And we are not even in a situation, in a position where we can do anything about it. We've got to develop protocols. We've got to take mental health in the Black community seriously. I don't care how mentally strong you are, there is a point and a threshold that you can get to a very dark place. And don't get me wrong, everybody over the course of their life will experience depression in moments, in brief moments, for a day or two or maybe, or even less. But when it starts to go on weeks at a time, it's an issue. It needs to be dealt with. It's not just sadness. It's much more than that. And you have to find ways to confront it. You have to find ways to cope. You have to find ways to mitigate it. You're right, Cheryl Banks. I probably shouldn't have even wasted my time. I'm just really at that place right now with cats that think that's okay. But you are absolutely right. I stand corrected. It is not worth responding to that type of energy. Thank you. And so what we have to actually be willing to do is start to, number one, recognize it when we see it, not assume we know everything that's going on with everyone else. And I agree with Queen Craft. Queen Craft says, matter of fact, let me put it up. You can't be black in America and not suffer from some sort of depression. I think it was actually James Baldwin that says you can't be black in America and at least somewhat conscious. To be black in America and at least somewhat conscious is to live in a constant state of rage. Well, that rage manifests in a bunch of different ways. What may look like anger can very well easily descend into depression. And there's so much to go along with this. I don't want to oversimplify it. I don't want to make it seem anything less than the complex force that it is. And it's important to seek help, to find professionals that can offer the help you need. Trying to wrestle through it and push through it. This whole idea of strong black women has cost us so much because we're asking women to do things beyond what they should be asked to do. When it comes to black men, the idea that you have to stand alone to prove your manhood is a false idea. It's erroneous concept. We're social creatures. We stand firm and strong when we stand together, when we unify, when we understand that we need one another, that you can pick up the phone and you can call somebody and say, hey man, I'm struggling with this right now, and not feel judged. The idea that if you ask for help, you're somehow less than a man. There's a narrative going around. There is a narrative going around that if you ask for help, you're less than a man. That if you can't do it all, you're not really a man. The black man has the entire system stacked to work against him. We talk about the black man being a provider, and so much weight is put on how much a black man earns when the black man is the most unemployed and underemployed individual in the country. Yes, there are some that are doing exceptionally well. There are some that are thriving in academia. Some are thriving in finance and the economy and in business, and that. But that's not representing the whole. The whole is there's a whole lot of us who are struggling, who are just as gifted, just as intelligent as those that we see are thriving. But there are things working against them and they don't know. And a lot of us won't reach back. A lot of us are so caught up in what we've got that we like the separation. We don't want to talk about it. We like the fact that I'm doing so much better than them. It makes me stand out. I said this a long time ago. I said, as long as my story and my life is an anomaly as it pertains to my people, I've actually failed. I'm different because I'm different, but I don't want to be different because I was able to navigate something, but I didn't help anybody else navigate it. There's a lot of work to be done in the area of mental health, therapy, the healing of trauma. And we're talking about generational trauma that's been passed down through social learning theory, that's been passed down through behavioral expression, that has been passed down epigenetically. There's work to be done. And it's in the doing of this work that we put ourselves in the best position to truly come out, grow, and heal. On that note, I'm going to get ready to sign off for here. I need to be headed to the gym anyway. But again, thanks for stopping in. To Cheryl, definitely thank you for pulling my coattail. Normally, I don't let people do that, but I'm just at that point right now where I'm so sick of subpar behavior being validated and normalized till we don't even know what our roles are anymore. We don't know how to carry ourselves. We have made some things that were never meant to be a part of who we are be normalized and become acceptable. On that note, look, I'm going to get out of here. You guys, I appreciate those who show the love. If you want to continue to support the work we're doing with the young mother and her kids, go ahead and donate. Just make sure when you donate, if you're donating to her specifically, that you put the word relocation somewhere in the information field, and it will be properly allocated. Or if you just want to give in general, you can do that as well. But no matter what, we're going to keep pushing, keep working, keep putting in the work. And on that note, I'm out of here. You guys have a great day.